Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unspooling a really thrilling digital mystery about a hacker who seemingly did everything right. We're talking layered security, masked physical locations, completely covered digital tracks. But, as you'll see, he still got caught by this invisible thread. It's a fascinating look at the absolute bleeding edge of digital forensics, operational security, and the hidden tracking mechanisms built directly into the operating systems we use every single day. Our story starts with a massive cyber attack. Picture this. It's May 2025, and a major U.S. luxury jewelry retailer is heavily breached. The attackers exfiltrated roughly 77 gigabytes of highly sensitive data. And then came the extortion. The company gets this email with a misspelled subject line, ironically enough, demanding an $8 million cryptocurrency ransom. The threat actors behind this whole shebang were identified as the Scattered Spider Hacking Group. And if you follow this space, you know they are a notoriously sophisticated cluster responsible for over 100 corporate intrusions and hundreds of millions in ransom demands. Now, the attackers executed what looked like a flawless operational plan. They perfectly used VPNs, proxy servers, and a tunneling tool called ngrok to completely hide their tracks. They rotated their IP addresses constantly. Basically, they did everything the cybersecurity textbooks tell you to do to maintain total anonymity online. Which raises the ultimate question, right? How exactly did their foolproof escape fall apart so spectacularly?
Well, let's dive into Section 1, the hacker who got caught.
Let's look at the real-world arrest of a 19-year-old suspect named Peter Stokes. In April 2026, Stokes was stopped by Finnish police as he was just walking through the Helsinki airport. He was carrying two massive 2-terabyte hard drives, and he was intending to board a flight to Japan. He'd been flagged on an Interpol red notice. But the trail that led FBI investigators to him? It actually didn't start with a slip-up in the physical world. It started with a single, highly obscure Windows PC tracker that practically nobody outside of enterprise IT had ever even heard of. The investigators didn't just guess, they tracked his movements backward, using one specific identifier. The FBI subpoenaed the tunneling service, ngrok, and found the attacker's account was created from a VPN proxy. Normally, that's a total dead end, but Microsoft's records showed a specific Windows device identifier hitting that exact ngrok sign-up page at the exact same minute. So the FBI took that device identifier and essentially traced it backward. It's like a giant puzzle coming together. They linked it to a June 2024 Facebook login in Estonia, a November trip to the Empire Hotel in New York, a January session of the mobile game Growtopia, and even a February stay at the Waldorf Astoria in Thailand. All of these innocent logins were tied to one physical computer.
Moving on to Section 2, what is a GDID?
So what exactly was this invisible string that tied all these physical locations together for the FBI? It's called a Global Device Identifier, or GDID for short. It is a permanent, unique digital fingerprint that Microsoft automatically assigns to your computer when you install Windows or sign into a Microsoft account. And here's the kicker. It isn't generated from your hardware serial numbers. Rather, a system service requests it directly from Microsoft servers, and then it gets stored locally on your machine in plain text. This specific ID, G:5554672343500028, was the exact string that unraveled the Scattered Spider hacker. This value is stored locally in the registry and is subsequently stamped onto telemetry data sent to Microsoft. For example, every single time your PC shares or downloads update data, this GDID is transmitted. It creates a persistent, unshakable record of the device's activity across the globe, completely bypassing standard network privacy tools. Which brings us to Section 3, the identifier mesh. You see, the GDDID isn't just a lone tracker that a hacker can simply find and delete. It's literally just the tip of the iceberg. We can visualize this tracking system as a 4-plane identifier mesh. First, you have your identity plane, which includes the GDDID and Microsoft account. Beneath that is the telemetry plane, dealing with diagnostics. Then comes the activation plane, holding your hardware fingerprint for Windows licensing. And finally, the attestation plane, dealing with cryptographic security, like your TPM chip. All of these intertwine to form a massive correlation graph. They ride together in the same diagnostic event headers, constantly linking back to one another.
And this is exactly why you can't just delete one file to disappear. Even if explicit identifiers like the GDID are somehow removed, this mesh collects a really dense payload of hardware configurations. We're talking things like your OEM manufacturer, your processor architecture, firmware version, and your MAC addresses. All of this acts as an operating system layer fingerprint, identifying you passively based on the entirely unique combination of your machine's components.
Section 4. Why VPNs failed. Understanding this mesh structure completely changes the game for operational security. Think about what a VPN actually does. A VPN successfully hides your IP address from the websites you visit by routing your traffic through an encrypted tunnel to a proxy server, right? But the OS-level telemetry doesn't care at all about your web browser's tunnel. It still transmits your unchanging device ID directly to Microsoft inside the diagnostic packet headers, completely regardless of what your IP address says. So the absolutely crucial point here is that Stokes was using a tool designed to hide a network attribute, completely unaware that his device attribute was simultaneously giving him away. He was masking his route, but literally broadcasting the vehicle's license plate directly to the manufacturer. As investigators noted, Microsoft correlates by this stable identifier, not the rotating IP. The VPN was simply defeating the wrong attribute. Let's move to Section 5, the reinstall myth. Now, you might be wondering, what if a hacker realizes this and just wipes their hard drive to get a fresh start? Well, this is a massive misconception. Users and, honestly, even some sophisticated hackers believe a clean reinstall wipes their identity entirely. And actually, it's true that a wipe does generate a brand new GDID. But remember that four-plane mesh we just talked about? The deep hardware layers of the mesh, the activation fingerprint, and the attestation? They remain totally intact because your physical hardware hasn't changed. The exact moment that newly wiped computer goes online and reactivates its Windows digital license, or the moment the user signs back into their Microsoft account, the trap snaps shut. The mesh acts like an invisible string, permanently tying that brand new GDID right back to the old hardware fingerprint and the historical device cluster. To the server, you haven't disappeared at all. You've basically just changed your name tag. Section 6, the privacy paradox. This brings us to a profound crossroad regarding this technology. It's a real dual-use dilemma. On one hand, this unshakable identifier mesh is an incredible tool for law enforcement. It caught a cybercriminal responsible for over 100 corporate intrusions and tens of millions in damages. For enterprise defenders, this mesh is an absolute asset for tracking insider threats and ensuring secure networks, precisely because a bad actor cannot easily shed their digital identity. But on the other hand, privacy researchers point out a major, fundamental liability here. Unlike mobile ad trackers on iOS or Android, there is no consent screen for the GDID. There's no friendly pop-up asking if you want to be tracked today. And worse, there is no real off switch for the average user without fundamentally breaking the operating system, Windows licensing, and store apps altogether. The objective reality is quite stark. While it is undeniably an incredibly effective law enforcement tool, from a strict privacy perspective, it operates exactly like surveillance software. It tracks you persistently across different networks, surviving system wipes, with absolutely no easy way to opt out. So what can you actually do about it? Well, while you can't fully disable the core mesh, users can limit the tracking. You can use a local account instead of a Microsoft account. You definitely should turn off optional diagnostic data in your privacy settings, block advertising IDs, and disable cloud content search. And for high-risk situations, like investigative journalism or activism, researchers suggest bypassing Windows entirely and using an OS like Linux routed through Tor for extreme privacy. This leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought as we close out this explainer. We spend so much time worrying about VPNs, browser cookies, and IP addresses, but if our most trusted privacy tools are only hiding the tip of the iceberg, how secure is our digital identity below the surface? The invisible strings of the identifier mesh are always there, quietly tying our digital lives to our physical hardware. Thank you so much for joining me today, and keep questioning what's beneath the surface.